I'm here with Juwana Jenkins, a blues singer and communications expert from Philadelphia who moved to the Czech Republic 20 years ago and liked it so much that she decided to stay. Today we're going to talk a little bit about her life and her experiences here in Prague. Juwana, thank you for coming into the studio. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. So I'm going to start off by asking you, what brought you to Prague?
Pure curiosity. I always wanted to live in Europe, and I heard nothing but great things about Prague in 1998. So with that, I signed a 1-year contract, and I've been happy here ever since.
And what made you decide to stay?
I walked around. I arrived September 1st, and by November, I had walked around, and I thought, this place looks like me. This looks like a place that I could call home. So I decided to make a life here. The same life that I would make any place else, I set out to create for myself here.
You're a blues singer. Was it difficult to find a niche here? And what do you think of the Czech music scene?
I was really quite surprised at how warmly I was welcomed. There are a lot of great musicians here who really, really love the music that I sing and actually have taught me a lot about the great musicians of the past that they have studied and listened to and admired and have expanded my range in terms of what I listen to. So first of all, in terms of the music that I play, the musicians have a great love, respect, knowledge, and admiration, and they're complete fans. And the music comes out from their love.
And you work with Czech musicians?
I do. I work with Czech musicians, and then I also work with an American guitarist by the name of Steve Walsh, and he's produced my last single, and we're working on new music coming out very soon. So I work with an international group of people based here in the Czech Republic. I've been able to work with bands in Latvia and Italy and Holland. So that's another reason why I love being here. I'm based in the Czech Republic. I have great friends and fans and musicians, but I've been able to connect with people all over Europe based on being in the heart of Europe.
Was it very hard to break into the music scene here?
I was very fortunate that people asked me, do you sing? And I said yes, and they gave me an opportunity and a chance. And I was the front woman for one band, and they sent me to a music store to buy a microphone, and that's where I met Tonda Smrčka, who's the leader of Tony's Blues Band, and he said, oh, so you sing? And so as a result, I bought a microphone, and I wound up singing with Tony's Blues Band for 10 years. And then I was at another event, and someone said, do you sing? And I said yes, and that's how I started working with Charlie Slavic, and we put out an album in 2012, The Blues Keeps You Alive. And based on that album, 2012, I had the opportunity to travel to Poland and all over Europe. So absolutely, I've had opportunities presented just by answering the question yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Was there anything that really surprised you about Czech culture and Czech people?
Things that surprised me. What surprises me about Czech culture and Czech people is they don't appreciate what they have.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that, number one, Prague is a very beautiful place. People come from all over the world to be amazed at the culture, the history, the architecture, and also at the opportunities that exist by being in this place. Now we're able to travel and go wherever. People so many times ask me, don't you miss the United States? And I say I can fly there whenever I want. And so people who feel frustrated and say, oh, but the Czech Republic doesn't have. Well, what the Czech Republic doesn't have, we're free to travel and see other places, appreciate what we have here, and go anywhere else in the world for what we're missing here. So if that takes someone on vacation or on business to travel, fine, or like me, to move abroad. But appreciate what you have here because it's probably not changing. So change the perspective to appreciate what we have. And so another thing is great people who are curious, who are kind, and making a connection with like-minded people. I find that there are kind, generous, gentle people all around me, and for people to open their eyes and connect with those people who connect with their hearts.
Was there a moment that you realized that you were in love with Prague?
Yes. I got lost. I got lost in Prague. It was somewhere around November 1998, and I went from Národní třída, and I was trying to get to Pařížka, and I probably went down Husova and Myslova. And when I finally got to Pařížka, and I'm sure I went to Kaprova. And by the time I made this circle through these streets and I wound up at Rudolfinum, I was just completely in love. I was head over heels in love. And I just said, this is the place I want to call home.
Did you know that you would stay here for 20 years at that
point? No idea whatsoever. That was not the plan. But 1 year turned into 2, 3, 4. And then I realized, I thought, because I had moved to Korea after I graduated from university, I got a Fulbright fellowship. And I thought I was going to travel and work my way around the world. And then I would start a real life in the United States. But after traveling through Asia and Australia and moving here, I realized I could have a real life wherever I determined to create a life. And so that's what's made living here an adventure.
Right. You were married to a Czech for a little while. Was it hard to understand the Czech mentality?
It was different. It is different, but because I come from a communication background and I learned a lot from my marriage, I learned that it's very, very unfair to expect different people to think the same way. And I really like the words, and they've really guided me, the words of Stephen Covey, who said, first, seek to understand, then to be understood. I wish I knew those words earlier. They would have saved a lot of heartbreak and a lot of misunderstandings, but that's how we grow. So I observed and I watched, and I was a part of a Czech family. It's given me some insight, some understanding, some peace of mind, and some respect, a lot of respect, to understand that, number one, different cultures, different histories, but there are a lot of similarities. And I really try to focus on the similarities and to accept the differences and to adjust to the differences, as I want people to respect and accept the differences that I have.
Right. Well, that segues well into my next question, which was, I've noticed that some Czech people here stare visibly at people that look very different from them on trams and just walking on the street. Have you experienced this?
I have a secret.
You do?
I stare too. I stare too. If I see someone walking down the street who is not Czech, after seeing nothing but check, 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 check for weeks on end, I stare too. And so when I realize that I do that, I can't be upset at other people. But the question is, why do people stare? You're different. You're unique. You're unusual. So I hold within my mind that before I leave the house, I make sure that I am right with myself. And if anybody else has a problem with that, that's their problem, not mine. So if someone's staring at me, I don't necessarily assume that it's for a negative reason. But I try to be open-minded and embrace what I'm getting. Many times I've had people stare harshly, and then when I smile at them, they smile at me. So I really try to be very careful about what I'm putting out, because that's what I want to get back. So when people stare, I smile because I've stared, and I stare at flowers and plants and architecture. I stare at things that are beautiful, and I hope that I'm one of them.
Right. So it's mostly adults and children, or?
The children are the best.
Yeah.
Because the parents are like, yes, there's a nice lady there. And I'm like, hi. And they're either, or like, so what happens is the children are a bridge and a gateway for me to talk to the parents, and the parents are sweet and kind and helping the child negotiate a world where they are full of surprises. And some of the surprises are, yes, there's someone who doesn't look like you, and she's a nice lady.
Is there anything you miss from America that you wish was here in Prague more?
I always say if I missed it, I can easily get on a plane and have it. So there's not a real disconnect between me missing and having. If I miss it, I get it. If I don't have it, it's because I didn't miss it bad enough. So I'm from Philadelphia. I could go for a cheesesteak from time to time. There aren't things that I really miss. Time with my family, my father, my grandparents, my siblings, that type of stuff. But they've been here. I can go there. So no, there's nothing I really miss.
Were they surprised when they visited by anything Czech, Czech food? Or...
Oh my goodness, my father was absolutely in love with Prague because my entire life as a little girl, I have known that my father loves history. And so within the first days, took him and my mother up to the Prague Castle, and we went from the Prague Castle down the Rudova over the bridge. And by the time he got the Charles Bridge, he just looked around. He was completely amazed. He's like, it looks like a movie set. And he's absolutely right, because there have been so many movies that have been shot here. But that's exactly the thing. If you're not from here, you come here and you're in absolute awe and amazement. And I just wish that more people who are originally from here could have the opportunity to see with new eyes.
Right. What are your plans for the future? Do you plan to stay?
Plans for the future. I'm completely at home here, and that's one of the things that when I left Philadelphia, I was 18 years old, and I moved here when I was 20. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I moved here when I was 26. So the home that I have here is really the first adult home that I've had, a home that I've created, a life, friends, colleagues. So I am at home, and people say, so when are you going to Philadelphia? Because they know that I'm here at home in the Czech Republic.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. And so one of the things I want to share, you asked me about the future. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy that I have a concert at Jazz Dock on May 31st, where people will be able to hear new music, including the single Long Time, which I just put out, and some new music that's coming out soon this year.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I'll be sure to attend. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Jazz Dock, 31st of May, 10 p.m.
Thank you.